and go for it.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to the world of cinematics. We are very excited for today's episode. We've got some thoughts on the Hawkeye finale and the series as a whole. And then we want to talk about, you couldn't tell by the, I don't know if I'm doing this right, the wonderful thing that I have behind me here. We're talking about Christmas. It's, it's that wonderful, magical, how does South Park put it? It's that magical time that comes once a year. It's magical because it comes only once a year. We got to sing about how magical it is because it only comes once a year. Listen, I love Christmas. It's amazing. There's a lot of great Christmas movies that we're going to talk about. But before we do that, right off the top, we promised you Hawkeye, and lo and behold, we give you Hawkeye. Robert, we got the finale for the Hawkeye show this week, and what do you think of it?
I have mixed feelings about it, okay. Honestly. I'm happy to see Yelena and Kate Bishop. Well, I was gonna say Hawkeye, like
that too.
How they had closure. That's the word I'm looking for, right?
Yeah,
that's a word. How they had closure, and granted, it was a little cheesy how they did it, but not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, the whistle moment wasn't quite save Martha. But the rest of it, I did like, yeah. Yeah,
and I got lucky because I just watched Black Widow right before that, and I was like, oh, I understand this. So, yeah, the Yelena and Kate Bishop, they have good chemistry. It's a funny interaction throughout the episode.
You want to go get drinks after?
Yeah, sure. Sounds nice. After I kill Barton.
That is so annoying. Why did you do that?
It literally is like she may have lost her older sister, but through Kate Bishop, you see that she's gained like a little sister, and it's just absolutely funny. And one thing I'm disappointed is how they did Kingpin. Jen and I were talking about this over the phone.
Yeah.
They had opportunity. I'm gonna try and have a positive outlook and say that they may be able to redeem this in the future.
Oh, for sure. You can redeem anything. Use an example off the top of my head. The Rescuers, animated Disney movie, I don't like it. I think it's boring as crap. The sequel was fantastic. So you can take anything that's bad and move forward and make it great. Do better next time. That's all you have to do. It's not easy, but you can do it.
The only hard part is the fact that we've already seen how Wilson Fisk is cool and how he is a well-written character. To go see Hawaiian Ben 10's grandpa get beaten up.
The Walmart discount version of Kingpin. Yeah. Which, he's way stronger than the Netflix version, way more durable, but this is not the same Kingpin. He's just played by the same actor. He looks the same. He has the same cufflinks. That's about where the similarities end.
You're not as terrified of him.
No.
Like, if anything, it's just like, the 10-year-old showing.
Yeah.
Versus the guy who's mentally like a 10-year-old, but outwardly an adult.
Yeah, the Netflix version, he, emotionally is a child, but he's an emotional child who is trying to act how we think adults act. And so he always cooks the same very healthy omelet every morning. He listens to the same classical music every morning because grown-ups like classical music. Could you ever see this guy listening to Bach while he makes an amazing omelet? No, this guy dresses in a cheap Hawaiian suit under his very nice white suit, and the freaking bead doors, and his office looks like a Taco Bell manager office. This is not the Kingpin of crime of New York City.
It looks like he belongs in Get Smart.
Yeah.
I can just see it now. Steve Carell coming into the office and all the beads falling.
Yeah.
And then his little eye twitch like, you entered into my office.
But even then, he was so much more emotionally composed in this than in the other one. Like, there's a moment where a character says like, hey, we've had some good times, haven't we? That being said, I got to get out of this lifestyle. And, if Netflix Kingpin heard that, he'd be like, are you sure that's something you want to do? You see how he wants to scream, but he's just barely keeping it contained like a little kid. Just, I'm not pouting. Think of what we've done together. Instead, it's just, in the spirit of the Christmas season, I'm going to give you a minute to reconsider that. You're like, that's awfully considerate of you, which is not Kingpin.
That's very kind of you, sir. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Versus, okay, don't worry, we'll give you your 27th gift, Dursley.
Yeah. So, I mean, okay, real quick, we should talk about Hawkeye himself. You know, we've talked about how much we love Yelena and Kate Bishop, how disappointed we were with, with Kingpin. What about Hawkeye? The show is named after him. Do you have any thoughts about him in this finale?
I liked it. It was a good way to kind of end Jeremy Renner's. I don't think they have actually gotten fully rid of him, but it kind of ending his line as Hawkeye.
Yeah, I think he is retired officially now.
Which it's a nice way they did it.
Yeah, I agree. And there's one moment with him in the finale that I don't like. You know, this is a man who we've seen fight aliens, fight, mad gods. We've seen him fight armies of drones. We've seen him jump off the skyscrapers or fall from the heavens and be fine because of all the tricks and stuff he knows. He can fire an arrow with a grappling line, whatever, he can do it. He got stuck in a tree.
That was hilarious, though. I couldn't stop laughing at that.
There were funny jokes with it, but I was just like, why can't you just climb down or jump out? There's so many things you could do.
I'm going to give this excuse, kind of go against it.
All right. Let me hear it.
He's old.
Yeah,
he's not a super soldier. He's just like, I'm too tired.
You have a good point. Part of the show's point is to show the physical toll that being a superhero for all these years takes on, well, a normal person. And yeah, okay, that's fair. He's old. He's tired.
I mean, I do agree though. He definitely would have. He probably could have gotten out of there without Kate Bishop's help.
Yeah.
But for me, I like just seeing that. It's like, wow, you look exhausted.
When she saved him, that should have killed him. Let's be real.
Oh, absolutely. Matter of fact, we should have seen the reenactment from the first Avengers movie when he flew through the window. He's like, oh, landed on his back.
It's fine. In general, I was disappointed in the finale. A lot of great things in it, but in general, I was underwhelmed.
After all this build-up, too, like, it could have been better.
Yeah, for me, I think the penultimate episode 5, was the best in the whole series, and so I was really psyched. They had a lot of great character stuff. They were really building up to something. That great needle drop when they introduced, we're talking about Kingpin. And then Kingpin was disappointing, and the whole thing was a mess where a lot of storylines didn't really, tie together, or they did tie together, but it was in a weird way. I didn't find it satisfying. Yeah,
it's funny, too, because I think in the picture that we see, it's the Kingpin that we were hoping for, the one with the black. He's got the black shirt with the white getup.
And in the very first scene of the 6th episode, that is what he's wearing.
But then it's like, you going on vacation, Mr. Boss?
Yeah.
Gotta go drink your coconut milk on a beach somewhere?
Yeah.
Gonna visit Phil?
Yeah, Stefan said last week when it was revealed Kingpin was going to be the villain, that if this was the same Kingpin as in the Netflix shows, automatically, just like that, he's the greatest villain in the MCU. And he's not. It definitely wasn't the same. Not the same continuity, not the same characterization, not the same villain, not the greatest villain in the MCU.
Kate Bishop was scarier than him. Not Kate Bishop. Yelena. Sorry.
Yeah. Yelena was funny as heck, and she was charming, but she also is like, oh yeah, I totally believe that if she's going to come kill me, I'm screwed. There's nothing I can do.
And then the chemistry between those two, just like, well, now they're just friends goofing off.
They're trying to. She keeps trying to press the button in the elevator.
And then when she finally gets it, like, goes all over it. You're so annoying.
Oh, and a character I did not like at the beginning of the show that I actually like quite a bit now towards the end. Jack.
Okay, hilarious. That was absolutely hilarious. As a matter of fact, I was so wrong in my prediction because I was saying that he was part of the crime, but he took the fall. Turns out, no, he's just this goofy guy who.
Just kind of eccentric and weird and charming. He has a goofy mustache. He's like, "Hi, Kate. I have a sword. I'm going to help you now." And he just starts fencing and killing all these tracksuit mafia guys. And Kate Bishop's like, "All right, we need to get people out of here. He's helping. We probably should get him out, but we can leave him till later. He seems to be handling himself."
And then the LARPer community starts like talking to him about getting him into LARPing.
Yeah, that was great. The LARPers, though. Okay, so they're trying to get everyone out of the building. People aren't listening to them, and so they say,
Cringe.
"I know what to do. We will dress up in our outfits, because then people will think we're superheroes." And so, probably took them 5-10 minutes. Run inside the building, change. Then now we're ready to come out and, do crowd control to say, "Okay, everyone, take the nearest door to your right. Let's leave in a calm, orderly manner." That was so stupid.
Oh, it was cringy. I was like, "You're professionals. Where's your uniform? Throw on your uniform."
You are police. You're firefighters. No.
It's like if you had your uniform, that would have been just as well. Just go in, throw on your uniform, especially the police officer. Throw on her uniform, come out and start directing people. It's like, "Oh, hey, officer." Not, "Oh, hey, a warlock?"
Yeah.
I guess Dr. Strange just checked me what? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So many thoughts that, we could talk about Hawkeye for forever. We're not going to.
We do need to move on.
Yes, real quick, something that I figured we'd do. I remember a few years ago in 2017, it was the very first year that Marvel had put out 3 movies in 1 year. That's insane. Well, then there was a weird global pandemic that kind of bumped a whole lot of movies that were going to come out in different years into 1 year. They also decided, hey, let's start doing TV shows. And the pandemic also bumped all those TV shows into the same year. So now, in this last year, we've had 9 different MCU projects, which is, I'd call it a gluttony, a wealth of riches. If I loved all of them, don't get me wrong, I loved some of them.
Yeah, like the top 3.
Yeah, so we compiled a quick list to tell you what our rankings were of the MCU's installments this year. Personally, I just want to say I think there's things of value in all of these installments. There's also some negative things, but in general, this is how we kind of saw things started out. So probably should have determined this beforehand. Robert, do we want to start at the top or start at the bottom?
Let's start at the bottom.
All right, what do we got?
What if? Now, mind you, we're not talking about the section we had in the podcast for a while.
No.
Everyone loved that section.
This is Marvel Studios.
This is Marvel's What If.
Yes.
I honestly, it is my least favorite out of all 9.
Same.
I lost interest in the first episode. It has nothing to do with what they did. It's just more of like, I just had no interest. It didn't capture me. It doesn't.
There were some really great episodes, and by some I can think of 2 or 3 off the top of my head, but there was 9 episodes, and most of them were forgettable. Like, I loved the Doctor Strange one, I loved the murder mystery one with the Avengers, and the the college frat bro comedy one. That was okay. That was pretty good. The rest were pretty forgettable though. So yeah, that's our thoughts. Gems, but
Yeah. And what's the next one? Number 8.
We have the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I guess it's kind of retroactively been named or renamed Captain America and the Winter Soldier, but
it's
I
the
love
Falcon.
the middle of the show. It might have had my least favorite ending of all these shows.
I did appreciate Bucky's story.
Yes.
But that was really it for me.
I loved Zemo. I loved John Walker. He was great.
Zemo was amazing, and I do like John Walker. But yes, as far as story goes, though, I prefer
It really
Bucky's.
fell apart at the end.
However, I did like the introduction for Madame Hydra.
Yeah, that was fun.
Because that was the first... Was that the first show that had her in it?
That was the first appearance of hers, although because of the pandemic and things getting pushed around, her first appearance was going to be the end credit scene of Black Widow, but then the order got changed around as things shuffled around, and she debuted in Falcon and the Winter Soldier instead. Which, hey,
okay.
She seems fun. She seems interesting. Curious to see what the future holds for her.
Yeah, so that was cool. I like to see that in the introduction to Agent Bishop. Agent Bishop. I'm gonna go to bed now. See you guys.
U.S. agent.
U.S. agent. Yeah. Where did
he's,
Agent Bishop come from?
He's definitely the highlight of the show for me. I'm very excited to see what the future holds with him.
We should have. I should have gone second.
Well, here I'll give my brief thoughts on this next one. We're talking about Eternals.
Number 7.
Yeah, not a whole lot of people I don't think in our audience have seen this. I would recommend seeing it at least once. There's a lot in it I really loved. Like the the character who's the villain, I think is, a lot of Disney movies, especially in the last few years, they'll do like, hey, it was a big twist villain with no development whatsoever. Is just, oh, it's this guy. Like, okay, that's not very compelling. This I do think did, it did that similar thing, but it did it better for me because the character who is revealed to be the villain towards the end, it's entirely based in his character leading up to it. You're like, oh no, this is not like, I'm surprised that he's doing this, but now that I see he's doing it, I'm not surprised at all. This totally makes sense, and I'm curious to see where the story goes from here. That being said, there were too many characters. A lot of parts were they were trying to be really lofty and trying to hit these really amazing goals, and they didn't always hit. But there were a lot of things in it I liked. It's a mixed bag for me, but I'd say it's worth watching at least once, especially since I believe it's going to have a big impact on the direction of the MCU in the future. Because it's not, the stakes of it aren't as big as Infinity War and Endgame, but it's probably the biggest out of any Marvel movie other than Infinity War and Endgame. So, yeah. Go watch Eternals when it goes on Disney Plus. It's okay. Yeah. Yeah, I saw something the other day, you'll see people jokingly make reductive comments about a movie like, oh, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Saw for kids. It's funny and we laugh at it. I saw someone make a comment about Eternals is basically a dysfunctional family with various political beliefs argue and fight over whether or not you should have, whether or not an abortion should be performed. And then there's a harassed minority who pops up to attack them every once in a while. That's basically the plot. Like there's, like, I don't know, if you look at it and say, wait, what? I have to see that. I don't know. I know some people that love it. I know some people that hate it. I get it in both cases. Yeah. Speaking of mixed feelings, what do we got up next, Robert? Red Guardian. Still fits. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, I think he was kind of wasted, but it was good to watch him die. Speaking of wasted people, though, Taskmaster, so boring. Hmm. Photographic reflexes. And it's not like, oh, I can perfectly imitate someone's voice or something that's like that. It's like if I see the world's greatest archer falling off a volley of arrows, I can do that too now. If I see somebody like a Black Panther with his very unique fighting style, I can fight like him now, which makes him a very difficult person to fight because anytime you use a move, he'll learn it immediately. Oh, easily, yeah. Hmm. But he's not just his powers and skills. He's funny. He's sarcastic. He's really sardonic and wry. He's great. He's memorable. Unlike this version, no. He's Yeah, he's a mercenary. He'll just, hired gun. He'll do whatever. Yeah. He's well, should have been the MCU's Boba Fett, but instead we just got someone who's really boring. And there is a twist involving the character. I didn't hate the twist. I just wish that the twist was used to make it more interesting, but instead it was just as boring as before. Yeah. But Yelena's going forward in new shows, and I think she's the best thing to come from Black Widow. And then she does it. Oh, I can't believe I just did that. Yeah. 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 Hmm. Yeah. All right, let's move on to our number five is WandaVision. This was a show that I wasn't particularly interested in when I heard it was coming out. That all changed when I started watching it. I loved it. It's pastiche of the different sitcom eras. It was funny. It was dramatic. Had really freaking scary stuff in it too. Every once in a while something would pop up like, "I'm not sleeping tonight," and it was like, for lack of a better term, it was David Lynch for the masses. Really weird abstract art that was really funny, but also has this undercurrent of some of the darkest stuff imaginable. Only problem is the finale really dropped the ball for me. It just turned into all this interesting stuff about like emotions and trauma and all that. And then what if we threw CGI at each other? Yeah. Yeah. The ship of Theseus, that was great. And all the stuff, at the ending of the episode where it's the emotional, like, we're family. I'm saying goodbye to you. Thank you for being my children. That really hit close to home. That was great. But a lot of the rest of it was really generic. And then it might, hopefully it'll be explored in the future. But as of the end of the show, there were no consequences whatsoever for the terrible things that Wanda did. And not only were there no consequences, people were saying like, "Oh, they'll never understand what you went through." She kidnapped and brainwashed the whole town and tortured them unintentionally, but still, yeah, I have problems with it. But I will say, it did give me, I think, my favorite line from anything in the MCU this year when Vision said in the flashback episode, "What is grief if not love persevering?" Man, I love that. Yeah. No. I would say that as well, but because in the first episode when the guy starts choking, the woman says, "Stop it, stop it." That's like, all right, this is kind of weird, but it didn't scare me. The first moment that made me go, "Oh, geez," it wasn't the beekeeper moment, although I did think that was like, okay, that we're getting that's real. Instead, it was the in the third episode when you see Vision and it's like stone missing from his forehead, he's a corpse, and you just see him for a flash, but oh gosh, that will give you nightmares because it's not just, oh, scary jump scare. It's no, keep in mind, this is all fake. This is all a fantasy with someone who can't handle the fact that the only person who ever loved her and that she loved is dead, and now she's playing make believe with his corpse. That's freaking dark. With those dead eyes. That was before when she expanded it. He had just gone out, and he starts dissolving and falling apart in pain. But he's just trying to get out. Another thing this show did. This show made Vision more interesting than he's ever been. I loved that about this show. Like when he's arguing about Wanda saying like, I don't know if I'm real, what's going on out there. That was great conflict for him. Yeah. Yeah. What do we got? Maybe that's fair. Yeah. That's fair. I think it might be the fact that Hawkeye is more fresh in our memory. WandaVision, it feels like a lifetime ago. But I think one of the things that puts WandaVision under Hawkeye for a lot of people is the fact that so much of WandaVision was tied into speculation, and a lot of that speculation either went nowhere or went to really disappointing places at the very end. So while neither of us loved the ending to Hawkeye or WandaVision, there were I think there were more things in the Hawkeye finale that I liked more than WandaVision. Absolutely. For the two of us, it's not a perfect series, but it's absolutely our favorite MCU show released this year. It's Loki. It kind of went all over for me, but in a good way. It starts out like this drama of like, what am I? I have to, kind of, who am I? Am I a good person? Am I a villain? What is fate? What is destiny? What is free choice? And then it goes into a murder mystery, and then it goes into a love story, and then it goes into a conspiracy thriller, and keeps bouncing all these different things. But kind of with the tone of Rick and Morty, the show was hilarious, and it managed to juggle all those different tones, at least for me, really, really well. And I never thought I would get on board for a romance between two multiversal, versions of the same person, but I bought their chemistry, I bought the romance, and I don't actually think they have like the same DNA or anything, so it's not like incest or whatever. It I could talk about that later. I could go into it all day. I Let's just put it to a side. Yes, yes. All about Loki and Game of Thrones and Star Wars. Yes. And I will say, if you had told me going into the finale that half of the finale was just going to be a character we've never met before talking, that sounds really terrible. But He Who Remains, that was a great performance that actually managed to capture the attention while you were watching it in a way that should not have worked, but he was so good it did. Oh, that was it right there. But but that but he had already checkmated them in that moment of like, hey, so I kind of want you to take over for me. I'll go retire or whatever. But if you kill me, then an infinite army of me from the multiverse is going to unleash war on each other. It'll be all your fault, and eventually me from a different timeline, well, the same timeline I came from, is going to come here, and we'll start this all over again. So please don't kill me. You'll just be wasting your time. They kill him anyways. He just winks right at Sylvie. See you soon. Oh boy. And then the cliffhanger ending was great. Yeah, big consequences. He's coming. He's coming. Yes, we'll get there. But first, what's our number two? Yeah. I mean, the bus scene. Yeah, they got one of Jackie Chan's they got one of Jackie Chan's old choreographers to come do it. It was the last movie he did before he died, and it really shows in that scene. No, one of Jackie Chan's choreographers. Yeah, hopefully. But Yeah, or like using the laptop to fight, or swinging around the bus as he fights people so he can get to the driver's chair and keep it from crashing. Lots of things. Oh yeah, yeah. The oh yeah, excellent. Yeah, it was a great family drama. Yeah, but the villain Wen Wu is one of my favorite MCU villains. I'd have to think about where he places, but he's definitely top five for me. Yeah, he's like 1,000 years old. He has these rings, that bracelets that it's not quite clear in the movie itself whether they're magic or technology or whatever. There's artifacts of some power that he is able to use as weapons. They've granted him more immortality and all that, and he's used that to live his life as a warlord at first, but then start controlling the world from the shadows, kind of like the League of Assassins. If you've watched League of Shadows and Batman Begins, with Ra's al Ghul, but he leaves it all behind when he meets a woman. He falls in love. They have a family, and then she's killed. And who boy does he strike back with a vengeance. He forgets everything he had because he's bitter. He hates the world now. He will take back what was his. He thinks he can get his wife back, and he'll go to terrible, terrible lengths to do it. He's just a man obsessed and torn apart by grief to the point where he's forgotten all about his children, and he's neglected them. It's a really emotional story with resonant themes that it's very well written in terms of what grief can do to someone and how to heal from that, but also happen to have some really freaking awesome martial arts scenes. Yeah, they were. I mean, yeah. Wong, the Sorcerer Supreme. Yes. Huh? Yeah. Hotel California. Although, like, a side note, Hotel California was funny, but if it was Wong, it should have been a Beyonce song. Yes. Mhm. Thousands of years. Yeah. Hmm. Oh boy. It it's it's well loved by everyone. It in all reality should have been a train wreck because of so much stuff that was stuffed in there and all the fan service. But no, they did it right. They found a way to make everything work. Our favorite MCU movie of the year is Spider-Man: No Way Home. Yes, no spoilers. We will avoid spoilers. I gave my brief thoughts on it last week. Robert, you've seen it. What do you think of it? Yeah, sure. You things that we've seen in the trailers and others. Hmm. And they were fun Marvel movies. They were fun, high school comedies. This is Spider-Man. he makes the hard choice, accepts responsibility, and life is now harder for him. There's a lot of ways in which it's worse, but it was the right decision, and the world is better for it. Yeah. Sam Raimi, not Sam Ramsey. But I've been there before. Yeah, this was a great movie. One of the things you talked about, how it's not just, hey, you remember these things. I think this movie only works because of those things you remember, but it's not because, hey, you remember these things, don't you? Like I'm dangling keys in front of baby. It's, you remember these things, and so we don't need to explain it. We will use this as a starting point, and we'll trust you because we know you remember this. Now we'll do interesting emotional things with that. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Spoiler alert. Next week, our final episode of the year is going to be our top 10 movies of 2021, and I've got a decent feeling that Spider-Man: No Way Home is going to be on that list. All right. Well, those were our thoughts on the MCU movies for this year. We'll transition into our main topic for this episode, talk about Christmas movies. Real quick, Robert, what do you think makes a Christmas movie a Christmas movie? Is it enough to just take place at Christmas? I mean, if that was the case, 2012 would be a Christmas movie. Iron Man 3, Batman Returns. There are lots of movies that take place at Christmas. That's not everything that it means to be a Christmas movie. And a Christmas movie doesn't need to have all of these, but it should have some. No, but things like themes of family and what you need, the importance of family and staying together, or of generosity, of giving. Yeah. Hmm. Whoopsies. Yeah. Well, we'll start out our list with it's kind of a cheat because it's only like 29 minutes long. We're talking about How the Grinch Stole Christmas. We're talking about the original, the animated, Christmas special. It's, oh God, I don't know where to start with this movie. I will say, fun fact, it was only greenlit because of the success of one we considered putting on here, Charlie Brown Christmas. And one of the reasons that I think it's, at least in my opinion, I think it's the greatest adaptation of anything from Dr. Seuss. One of the little pieces of secret ingredients, the special sauce, Dr. Seuss actually wrote the script for it. They didn't just adapt it. They went to him because he was still alive and said, hey, we want to work on this. You want to help? He wrote it, and it was perfect. Yeah. I mean, Boris Karloff is the voice of the narrator and the Grinch. You got Tony the Tiger singing the song, and how great is that song? You want to think of all the cartoony, creative, evil, disgusting ways to describe someone. We still, when we're talking about things we hate, will randomly quote that. It's just part of our pop culture now. When we say, oh gosh, that person was a crazy ex-girlfriend, I wouldn't touch her with a 39.5-foot pole. Everyone knows, oh yeah, because she's the worst, just like the Grinch. Takes place at Christmas time. Like, the Grinch, what makes him so upset and grumpy all the time, he hates all of these frivolous things that have become associated with Christmas. All the greedy shopping, the obnoxious songs, the bright lights. It's so annoying, and he hates it. And so he says, "Okay, no more Christmas, because Christmas is all about all this junk, and I'm going to steal all of it." So he steals all of it. Did he steal Christmas? No. Yeah. And he's up there on the mountain. He looks down. He sees all those people. They're not sad. Christmas isn't gone. They're holding hands. They're singing. Because at the end of the day, Christmas isn't about all the nice things or the junk that we give or receive or whatever. It's about, spending time with the people you love, remembering the things that you're grateful for in life, resolving to be a better person, which he does. It probably would kill most people to have their heart grow 3 times. But yeah, most of you, if that happens to you, go discuss that with your physician. But for him, it's Dr. Seuss. It works out. Yeah. Yes. But then again, in the spirit of Christmas, part of the spirit of Christmas is giving, and so he gives back. Granted, everything he stole, but he gives to this community and says, "I get it now. I want to be a part of this." Yeah. Christmas fun. Lost it. No, not a Christmas movie whatsoever. Yeah. I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion. Greatest movie Chris Columbus has directed. That includes the first 2 Harry Potter movies. Yeah, he did. Right? Yeah. Creep. Yeah. Creep. He has a creepy serial killer neighbor trying to break into his home because they think he's all abandoned. And part of it is like, hey, let's look at these terrible sadistic traps that this 9-year-old is going to devise for these grown men. You want to watch Joe Pesci's face burned off? Gee, kids, do we have the treat for you? Right. Yeah. In many ways, it is a child, power fantasy of, I'm alone. I can do whatever I want. I'm going to order cheese pizza. I'm going to stay up as late as I want. I'm going to do all these cool things because I'm cool and smart. When people break into our house, I'll defend it. Which is, admittedly, a ton of fun. I love Home Alone. But that's not what makes it a Christmas movie, for me at least. Yes, it takes place at Christmas. And yes, Kevin learns the value of family when he eventually decides, oh, this is scary. I want my family back. But for me, I think the moment where he decides, oh, maybe family's kind of important, it's when the creepy serial killer neighbor, he sees him at church. And he learns he's not a creepy serial killer. He's a guy who is going to church so he can see his granddaughter sing. He can't talk to her. He hasn't spoken to his son in years. And, the kid teaches him, well, let's heal your family. Let's talk to them. What if they don't want me back anymore? What do we have to lose? Let's try. Yeah, he learned it by teaching it. Hmm. Yeah. Oh, so many times. Like the paint cans should have killed them. The iron should have killed them. The flamethrower should have killed them. Oh, gosh. Oh, for sure. Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci is made of steel, and I'm not talking about the character. I'm talking about the actor, Joe Pesci. Yep. Um, oh, that would. All right. Let's move on to our next one. We have a Christmas story. Oh, this is It's a classic for so many reasons. I mean, for one, it's hilarious. I mean, all the different things of like, you'll shoot your eye out. And you think, okay, sure, of course his mom is going to say you can't have a BB gun, you'll shoot your eye out. Of course his teacher would say you can't have a BB gun, you shoot your eye out. But Mall Santa says you can't have one? Yeah. It's so mean spirited. Like, you want to watch a bully named Scut Farkus with yellow eyes beat the snot out of little kids? It's so mean spirited, but it works. You want to see a kid actually get his tongue stuck to a lamppost and then be stuck there for hours screaming in pain? it it shouldn't work, but it does. And part of why it works both as a comedy and as a Christmas movie, it's, I think, out of all these movies, I think it's the most relatable. It's like, you got your parents bickering over like a dumb lamp, and then oh, let's get our kid this present. Oh no, that's dumb. Let's not do that. Or the dad's banging on the furnace trying to put it back together. You got the little brother hiding under the sink because he's weird, and I don't know, little brother, get out of here. Like the aunt. When you say that bad word as a kid that you definitely should not have. But also, like all these, terrible relatable things that happen all throughout it. And then at the very end, you watch like the parents drinking their cheap wine. It's not bad. It's not good, but it ain't bad either. They're drinking that, but it's late at night. They're watching the snowfall. They're listening. They're actually listening to Motab. Fun fact. Yeah, that's a Motab recording that they used in that scene. But it's, like, forget all the hectic, crazy stuff. Forget all the relatable, terrible things that happen. At the end of the day, those terrible things, those are small. They don't matter. This is what matters, spending time with your family. And then at the very end, hey, kid, I think you got one more present left there. It's a small thing, but, one of the things about Christmas is part of it is about giving. And it's not necessarily giving the biggest thing or getting, that Christmas present that you wanted. But if you can do something to make someone happy and you can give it to them, look how much it meant to that kid. That was wonderful. Yeah. And then he did shoot his eye out, but yeah. Yes. Fragile. Must be Italian. Oh, I love it. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Wonderful. Everyone needs to watch it again. It's a Christmas staple for a reason. There's been like a million adaptations into film. There, I mean, say what you will about, any of these versions. I don't think there's one that's terrible. I mean, the story's so strong, they all work. Not all of them are as great as all of the others, but they're always, it's a Christmas Carol. It's perfect. Hmm. You got, yeah, his old partner. Well, is not. It wasn't illegal, so it's not his partner in crime, but his business partner. It's like, I have regrets. Then you have the ghost of Christmas past. You have regrets. You have the ghost of Christmas present. Look where those regrets have gotten you. And the ghost of Christmas yet to come. Look where they're going to get you. This is terrible. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. He was in Scrooged. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Just kind of a comedic take on it. Mhm. Yeah, it's a like if you haven't read the original book, go read it. It's really short. You can read it in like a half hour. It's it's perfect, it's wonderful, it's powerful as crap. And I mean, yeah, what else can you say? It's a Christmas Carol. It's a classic for a reason. Bah humbug. Well, I mean, if we're gonna speak of lines, God bless us, everyone. Yeah, that's it. It's a Christmas Carol. It's perfect. I mean, yeah. Speaking of perfection, I mean, this might be the greatest action movie of all time, and heck yes, it is absolutely a Christmas movie. We're talking about Die Hard. It's I mean, forget that it's one of my favorite action movies of all time. Real quick, I'm going to give a brief spiel on why it absolutely is a Christmas movie. Because, yes, it takes place at Christmas, but the plot of the bad guys only works because it's Christmas. It has to be a Christmas party because there will be less security and there will be hostages to take place, at the party. It has to be Christmas because you have John McClane, who's an estranged husband. He's reuniting with his family. He's fighting the whole time so he can see his family again. He's fighting, the final climactic moment, which Robert has now seen, right? That was the scene you saw, right? Where and it's not duct tape. That's Christmas wrapping tape. Uh-huh. And and his wife that he's going to rescue, her name's Holly. So it's a Christmas, it takes place at Christmas where some terrorists are going to do a thing because of Christmas. And it's about a man who's trying to get together with his family. He's trying to get after that Holly. He's trying to save the day. There are children involved who are like, oh, I want to be with my parents and all of this. And to top it all off, it has one of the greatest final lines to any movie ever. After the day has been saved, after one of the most tense hostage situations imaginable, a guy who's watching from the outside, he says, man, if this is how they celebrate Christmas, I gotta be here for New Year's. Cut to, oh, the weather outside is frightful, and just plays over the credits. It's full of Christmas music everywhere, Christmas decoration. It's a Christmas movie. It's freaking awesome. Yeah. And I'll say this, the director, John McTiernan, who also directed Predator and The Hunt for the Red October, he says it's a Christmas movie. And statistically, viewing of Die Hard spikes in December, especially around Christmas. Why? Because everyone in the world knows it's a Christmas movie, and if you disagree, well, you're wrong. And as a side note, Hans Gruber, one of the greatest movie villains ever. Freaking amazing. It was the film debut for Alan Rickman, and oh, he's wonderful. He's so menacing, but also charming and funny and sophisticated. Like Mr. Takagi did not cooperate with us, and so he will not be joining us for the rest of his life. Now, moving on. Yes, he does. Mhm. Yeah, I sent I sent some scenes over for Robert to watch, and it's freaking amazing. It's perfect. Oh, he's wonderful, and he's one of the greatest action heroes of all time. John McClane, perfect. I will never go in any building over 20 stories ever again. Hey, you didn't see this. You didn't see the scene where he's picking out glass out of his feet. No, you don't. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yippee-ki-yay. Happy. But it's full of one-liners. Hey, no bullets, or happy trails, Hans, or thanks for the advice. It won't make sense, but John McClane thanks somebody for some advice in a scene, and it's perfect. I'll leave it at that. Yeah, I sent you a ton of scenes. You need to watch all of them. It's wonderful. Hey, speaking of things that are wonderful, though, yes. Hmm. Yeah, Frank Capra's wrong. Yes, for the very first time. Oh, you watched the color version. Yeah, yeah, they just colorized it. Mhm. James Stewart. Hmm. Good old Jimmy Stewart. Dude's freaking hardcore. Mhm. Jimmy Stewart. I know this. Yeah, we'll find it. But you see, him born in this town. You see him get his first job, his first like George Bailey, that's his name. You see him like fall in love with a girl in high school, the death of his father. You see this man's life all the way up to him as a married man with kids, working a terrible job. I, it, Mhm. No, no, yeah. I was thinking like the movie's like rated G. You could not in a rated G movie today have a suicide attempt. It gets dark. Yeah. Hmm. He's a hero. Hmm. Yeah. Right. Right. I mean, try balancing, the Great Depression against trying to help everyone. So, like, you have infinite financial need on one hand, the economy of the world in the balance, but also everyone is starving to death and homeless, and you can help them, but you really can't. Hmm. Hmm. Like, yeah, they're all grateful for him. They love George. No, no. Hmm. He's gonna jump off a bridge into, like, I know he's going to die, but geez, that water looks awful. All the ice and the snow down there, and it's like this is the worst bridge you could imagine jumping off of, and he doesn't care. He's doing it. Hmm. And yeah, the angel is funny, and well, an angel comes, yeah, and this angel is like a junior angel. He hasn't earned his wings yet. And so he's like, well, I'm kind of not the greatest angel, but hey, I'm here to help you. People love you, George Bailey. Let me show you how. And he doesn't show, like, he doesn't, Clarence, that's his name. He doesn't, Clarence doesn't take him around like, hey, like, let's Ghost of Christmas present this and say, like, let's look at the lives of people, and how, what they really think of you when you're not around. No, no, no. Let's go to the lives of everyone you know. Well, we're going to show you what their life would be like if you were never born, if you were never there. What does the world without George Bailey look like? His wife is alone. And that really hurts because it's not just, oh, she's an old maid. She's quiet. She's sad. She's afraid, and her life is she's miserable. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. All those movies, all that movies and shows that do that, it's a reference to It's a Wonderful Life. Exactly. Just, if you have Amazon Prime, it's free to go watch. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you have seen it, go watch it again. Absolutely. Yeah. 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 It takes a while to really get going. It's never boring, but it does, like, all right, let's get going. No. Yeah. Hmm. No. Mhm. Yeah, that's our list for our favorite Christmas movies. It's a bit of an eclectic list. We tried to get in some classics and some ones that have affected us personally, ones we love. But sorry to Elf for Charlie Brown Christmas. There's a lot of great Christmas movies that didn't make the cut for us. Doesn't mean we love them any less. It's just these are the ones we decided to include. Um, just like tie it into Christmas, like just because you don't invite every single one of your uncles and aunts and cousins and grandchildren, whatever, just because you don't do that for every Christmas, doesn't mean you love them any less. It's just, we're having Christmas with this family next year. You'll have your turn next year. You may get the movie you want. We'll see. Yeah, we're breaking down our favorite movies of the year, and already I am very curious to see what our list is going to look like. I have a vague idea, but very vague. There's going to be surprises. Yes, sure. Yes. All right. So, yeah. Let us know what your favorite Christmas movie is. Make sure to watch some of our older videos. We've talked about some of our, last 2 weeks we've talked about favorite TV villains or favorite TV heroes, the things that they mean to us. And hey, you got time off of school or work, maybe go watch, some of those TV shows that we talked to you about. Mhm. Lot lots of promising material in the future. So you know, from everyone here at the World of Cinematics, from me, from Robert, we just want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. Thank you. Yes, we'll save that for next week. Merry Christmas. Bye.